Who's there?
If you at least 35 and over, man, you play some of that woo, man, you get it popping before you get the show started. Yeah, I got my man, me and Moses, we gonna drop some African American history on you today. I was waiting for Richie to come in. What's up, Rashad Holmes? We got a B1 for life, Hot Rod ES. As people start to come in, I got my big bro Teddy. Yeah, we're gonna talk about, this is part 6 of the history of African American inventors. What I do notice, a lot of times us as Black people, we always complain about how our history is given to us and how our history is not told. But what I notice is when I'm going hard in the paint, I have up to 200 people in the chat. I don't have a lot of subscribers. I mean, close to 3,000. I have a whole bunch of people in the chat. But whenever I come now that we up to number 6, Moses, now that I come with these African American inventors, man, people don't be tuning in, man. They don't be tuning in to get this information. Like, I'm confused with our people sometimes. Like, normally I'll see the regulars. Like, when I go when I go live to talk about this kind of stuff, I'll see the regulars. And what I do is I don't I try not to bring you the inventors that we know about, like George Washington Carver, Elijah McCoy. And so I try to bring the obscure inventors, the ones that they don't want to tell you about. And for those of you guys that's been following me for these up to series 6, you have seen that we have, if they took the African Americans out of America, man, this place would be in trouble, man. Like, we created every damn thing. And you know what I was trying to tell our people, man, listen, it wouldn't be no frozen food department. It wouldn't be no cartridges for your game console. It wouldn't be no diagnosis for liver cancer. It wouldn't be no first heart surgery. It wouldn't happen. You wouldn't have preservatives in your food. I can go on and on and on. There wouldn't be no electric elevators. It wouldn't be no transmissions in your cars. I mean, I could just go on nonstop. It wouldn't be no computer systems in your fighter jets. You wouldn't be able to breathe in submarines. This is all us. But for some reason, they told us that we was deaf, dumb, and blind, and our only contributions was being on slave plantations and marching for civil rights. That's the only history that we have. Or other than that, of being in some type of entertainment or athletics. But when it came to inventions, they don't want to really give up this science. They don't really want to tell you the truth that a black man created cortisone, that a black woman discovered the cure for Hansen's disease. All you got to do is go and check out the series. I'll bring it to you. Hook, line, and sinker. They don't want to let you know all these things, man. The innovative, we discovered the alpha helix and how the proteins work within the DNA. That's a black man. The electric microphone, the first gigahertz chip, is a black man that has 3 of the 9 patents in IBM. That's an African American, a Negro. How come black boys don't know this, Moses? You there, Moses?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. How come they don't want to teach black boys this information, bro?
Because that education is empowering. They want the opposite of empowerment. They want you to see yourself in a condition of dysfunction. However, it is operating perfectly according to how they've designed it, with their media, with their education, with their white empowerment. So the black can have an absence of their own self, and they can identify with the real superheroes.
Right. They give you they talk about Crips and Bloods and gang banging and boys in the hood, drug dealing, and all kinds of stuff. But everything I name is the opposite of that. We was in these labs. We was putting in this work. So what we gonna do? We're gonna get right into it. Okay, yeah, Richie, but hold on 1 second. Hold on a second. Oh shit, 1 second. We're gonna get right into it.
While we're getting into it, I guess I will just say, man, when you look at some of the inventions over this 6-part series, you'll understand how life has been drastically improved on a global scale. Even when it came to, they had the shipping lanes from the transatlantic slave trade, and even before then, they were going into Africa just to find salt because they could not preserve their food. The refrigerator unit itself, just imagine how that is revolutionized. There's another one with not even before the IBM brother with the 9 patents about the television, and the television in every home. When they were trying to get a chicken in every pot, the television became that thing that took the world by storm. And so now we got what, 4 or 5 different televisions in our household nowadays. That's the big rage. You can get a big flat screen or a curved screen colored television and 5G or 4G. And these are the inventions that African Americans were able to contribute to the world. And so that's going to be a big deal. There's a great deal of need for electricity, but that electricity is really only the component to power these other devices, like your refrigerator and then your piece of entertainment, which would be your television. If you turned off my refrigerator and my television, I probably would not have much of a need. I can light a candle in my house and be all right, but without that refrigerator, I don't know what I would do. So,
and you know,
in there. Go ahead, brother.
You know what's funny? It was a black man that created the wires, the rubber wires for the electric to pass through, for you to be able to plug up to your refrigerator into the wall socket. Guess who created that? A black man. That's inside the series. Like, we got so much stuff. We had when you talk about the Manhattan projects, guess who was front and center at that? A black man and a black woman. So as you go through the series, you'll begin to see, you're gonna like this one, Moses. You'll be able to break this down better than me. This lady, she created some shit, right? We're gonna kick it off with her. We're gonna kick it off with Bessie Blount Griffiths, or Bessie Griffiths Blount. All right, Bessie Virginia Blount, a pioneer physical therapist, inventor, and scientist, was born in Hickory, today Chesapeake, Virginia, on November 24th, 1914. In the 6th grade, she had to discontinue her elementary education, although she would later earn a GED after her family moved to New Jersey. She studied nursing at the Community Kennedy Memorial Hospital in Newark, where they're developing a passion in the field of physical therapy, a profession non-formalized and established until shortly after Blount's birth. All right, let's get into where she really gets down. All right, Blount attended Panzer College of Physical Education and Union County Junior College, where she obtained certification in physical therapy. As one of a few African-American therapists at the time, she blended interpretive dance and avocation of hers to enhance her patients' treatments. So she was like a therapist to help patients in World War II get better, but she also mixed dance with it. And you'll see like how innovative our people was. I mean, and you got to understand the pressure that our people was under World War II with the certain rights that they didn't have, and how we still was making moves. The World War II years witnessed thousands of African-American soldiers in need of physical therapy as they returned to the United States. Blount practiced at various veterans hospital, restoring physical function to wounded soldiers. Recognizing that much of the equipment in use at the time was inadequate, Blount found innovative ways to rehabilitate her patients. Here we go, Moses. Here we go. See, the thing is, black people was used to making something out of nothing because we was always given limited resources. In particular, she helped arm amputees. Arm amputees compensate by teaching them to use their feet. She also created, watch this, Moses. She created a food receptacle equipped with an electrical motor that propelled food through a protruding tube. This tube was inserted into the patient's mouth, and upon biting down on it, a small portion of the food was pushed into his mouth. The apparatus allowed patients to eat independently and comfortably in an upright or level position. Blount received a patent for her portable receptacle support on April 4th, 1951. 3 years after filing a patent, that same year, Blount married Thomas Griffiths, and the couple will have a son, Philip. In 1952, the French government purchased the patent rights of the portable receptacle support and put it to widespread use in military hospitals across the country and in some of its colonies. The ingenious apparatus positioned Blount as one of the earliest inventors in the burgeoning field of physical therapy. Where you at, Moses? You there, Moses?
Yes, sir. You know I'm on mute, though.
Yeah, this was, I mean, you know, you can equate this to like an IV. You know, where she put that like liquid food into a tube, and it would go through a tube, and the person would bite down on it into their mouths, to the point where the French government brought the rights to it for their military. And they put it all throughout the freaking country and then throughout the colonies. And it was invented here in America. So here in America was the same. Now, how come they didn't teach us this in school? You know, how come this wasn't being taught in the school systems? These are the things. Yeah, Bessie. These are the things that we got to know. In 1969, Blount began a second career in forensics as a chief examiner for the police department in Norfolk and Portsmouth, Virginia. She was the first African-American woman admitted as a student in the at the document division of Metropolitan Police Forensics Science Lab in London, England. Man, come on, man. I thought black people, I thought all we was doing was marching for civil rights to be treated better. I ain't know we was doing this kind of work. Did they teach us this shit in school, Moses?
Hell no.
She maintained a private practice as a consultant to law enforcement and law firms on law strategy and procedure until 1983. Blount enjoyed a brief stint in journalism, made breakthroughs in research and medical graphology, held high-ranking memberships in numerous respected organizations, and was an outspoken advocate for equal rights for the marginalized. She was bestowed several honors in her lifetime, including the New Jersey Joint Legislative Commendation. I don't know how much money did they give her. The France government brought her patent. But I would ask all the people in the chat room, when you see this old lady, you would think that she was just some type of grandma mammy or something. Nah, we was inventing shit. We was in these labs. We a lot of our people was turning up. So I want y'all. Let me go back up before we get to the other ones, because this is some serious shit I got today that we did, man. She created a food receptacle equipped with an electrical motor that propelled food through a protruding tube. That's equivalent to like an IV today. The tube was inserted into the patient's mouth, and upon bringing it down to it, a small portion of food was pushed through its mouth. This apparatus allows the patient to eat independently and comfortably in an upright or level position. Come on, man. Come on, man. I mean, this is back in the day where today they feed you through your IV. This is I don't want to cuss. This is a black woman. This is Big Mama. Big Mama, basically, when you go in there, you see your IVs today, you can think of Bessie Blount. You can think of Bessie Blount. Let's move on to the next one. Where we going? Let's go here.
Hey, another call out is she got her GED, so she dropped out of school, got her GED, and then went to like a junior college or a college of physical education. Yeah, Union County Junior College, where she got a certificate. See, that's the big story right there, because we have a lot of folks who may not have been the best in high school. Now they're in their 30s or late 20s, whatnot. They have their kids, and they're looking for a hope or an inspiration, something that pushes them, that says, you know, you can do it. And they be having a lot of ideas, Brother George. So just because they went back and only got a junior college degree, we got to just stop saying only. Just because they only got a certification, we got to stop saying only. They can make those strides, and they still have those ideas, working and getting that work experience that exposed her to what the real need was, and then being able to take her experience and then address that need with a product, be able to sell that product, sell the patent, which that's where we run into odds as a business person myself. Her selling her patent was, you know, lifetimes of money, not just her generations, but the next afterwards. However, when they're in those situations, they might just be thinking, how do I get this device out there in the market? How can I position it to where this life-saving device for those who are, you know, amputees and those people who've been in, you know, war or whatnot, they can get the benefit of this device. So I understand where her heart may have been, just not the business savvy. But unfortunately, we need these type of stories to keep being pushed forward, so that our brothers and sisters who are in back in the hood or in the lower class, or, you know, however we want to describe it, getting off of welfare, looking for work, getting out of the institutions or the penitentiary, looking for an opportunity, for all of them to realize that, hey, you can do it. You have the ideas. Now let's make it work. And these are the type of stories they may need to hear.
And the crazy thing is, Moses, the French government brought her patent. The goddamn government. That's what I'm saying. Like, it wasn't like a company that said, hey, you're doing something. It was the goddamn French government saw what this. Remember, they was calling us chimps and gorillas and monkeys back then. That's what they said we was. So you mean to tell me the France, all the killing they was doing in West Africa in the 50s, all the genocide that they was committing in Ivory Coast and places like Mali and Senegal. You mean to tell me they brought an invention from a chimp? Is that what they telling us, Moses? That they trusted a chimpanzee or a gorilla or a monkey, which they called us. They trusted a chimp's invention to buy and put it and send it all throughout their country? Is that what they're telling us, Moses?
I mean, even deeper than that, they may have been on one hand tongue in cheek calling them chimps and monkeys, and that's the impetus to continue their warfare and their warmongering in Africa, while at the same time understanding that it's not really a monkey. You're not really dealing with a chimp. There's some intelligence there, and they may have treated her like a chimp when they bought out her patent. That's where we can start drawing the real conclusiveness when it's governments involved in the oppression of other people or in the robber baron activities against people, inventors like herself. So they'll take that patent, give her $25,000 and own it for its copyright and its intellectual property in perpetuity, which genuinely means forever, Brother George, because that's the way they view us. But at the same time, they do want to exploit us for all of our intelligence, which we'll see in some of these other Black inventor stories and narratives that you bring forward.
Let's go here to a real obscure person. These are obscure names. And the reason why I bring the obscure names out for the people that's watching, that really want to get this information, because these are multi-million dollar industries. Multi-million-dollar industries. And our people didn't have, well, you know what? I'm not going to say that our people didn't have a business savvy because I wasn't there. I don't know. What I do know is that our people was under intense scrutiny and intense overt oppression. So a lot of things was taken from them. A lot of times they didn't just sell things over. See, they'll write it down the day where they sold it over, where we know that it was taken from them. Because this was at the time when our ancestors were still being hung in the South. So you got to look at it like, oh yeah, well, you sold it to him for $25. No, you didn't. You hung his brother. See, there's a lot of stories that's not being told. So let's get into Lewis Temple. Lewis Temple was born in 1800 as a slave in Richmond, Virginia. Another person from Virginia. He obtained his freedom and moved to New Bedford, Massachusetts in 1829, where he worked as a blacksmith. Later that year, he married Mary Clark, with whom he would later have 3 children. He also opened a wellcraft store. Although he had no experience, now I'm gonna try to listen. Although he had no experience with welling or as a seaman, in 1845, Temple was enjoying a much success that he was able to open a larger wellcraft store. The New England region was the capital of the welling industry. Well meat and oil was very valuable, and the industry provided jobs to seamen, and seafront businesses. A big concern for these people was the inability to develop a surefire method of successful hunting wells. So now they had a problem with methods to successfully hunt wells. This is where another black mind come in at. Again, a black mind, a man that had no experience, right? The existing methods of the day often ended in failure as the wells were disengaged themselves from the weller's harpoon by spinning and thrashing out. In 1848, Temple set out to make an improved harpoon that could withstand the enormous strength of the large mammals and would be difficult to escape from. He developed a harpoon with a pivoting head that stayed embedded within the creature, calling the invention the Temple Tiger or the Temple Iron. The harpoon was actually very similar to hunting tools used by well hunters during prehistoric times. Now, how would a black man have knowledge of that? Where these so-called other people that was in the well industry, how come they didn't know that? But a so-called black man understood this, and he would take that model and model it off of the prehistoric hunting apparatuses to bring it to present day where they can actually hunt these big mammals. His harpoon became a great success, but he never patented. Here we go. As such, many blacksmiths began copying the device and selling it as their own. Nonetheless, he enjoyed success that he needed to build an even larger shop. Unfortunately, in 1854, while the new shop was under construction, Temple fell into a hole. He fell into a hole near the shop and was unable to work.
Yep.
He mysteriously fell into a hole, right? In 1854.
Yep.
Yeah, I bet. It was the whole was a result of construction by the city, and Temple successfully sued and was awarded 2 G's by the court. He never received any of the payment. He never received any, so he fell in the hole allegedly after creating. See, I'm gonna tell you what happened. He created this device, and he never was able to patent it because the white settlers down there stole it and began to market it himself. He began to scream bloody murder and cause trouble, so they pushed his black ass in the hole. He went to court and got rewarded, but they never gave him any money. So he died a few short weeks later as a result of his injuries. All of the profits he made from his harpoon and his business went to paying for his debts, and his family was unable to collect the money awarded by the court. A strange and ironic tragedy a strange and ironic tragedy who did so much for the town during his life would be ignored in death. Though the city of New Bedford did not recognize the obligation to debt to him at his death, the industry owed him much more because of his inventions. Experts after his death agreed with Clifford Ashley, who announced that his Temple's harpoon was the single most important invention in the whole history of welding. Now, I want people to understand something. Moses, all around the world, they well hunt, right?
Yep.
So they just said that his invention is the single most important invention in the whole history of welding. How much money should this man be worth? If he was able to get his just due and do business with the corporate structure to market his product and put it out worldwide. I mean, just think of the mechanisms and apparatuses that they use from 1848 into the last 100 years from this man's inventions, how they would have took his inventions and took it worldwide. So I asked the people, like I always say, I'm not saying that we never needed reparations. What we needed was a system of justice. They knew how important this man's invention was globally, and they killed him. They said that he fell in a freaking hole. He fell in a hole, and then he successfully won in court, and they never paid him his money. And then they never gave him his just due for this invention. And then they never taught you in school about this man either. And people say that we should stay on the right side of the law and do the right thing, where they're making a conscious effort to never ever teach you guys the contribution of black people and black men. This is systematically done, where I tell you guys all the time, white supremacy was never created for white people. White supremacy was never created for black people. Systematic racism was created for black people. Institutional racism was created for black people. That's enforced by white supremacy, because white supremacy was created for white people to enforce systematic racism, institutional racism. And this is a prime example of systematic and institutional racism. Because if you taught young black boys from the age of 6 that they can be inventors with their minds in their hands, then ain't no telling the things that we can create, because our ancestors was creating this stuff doing overt racism, man. And a lot of our people got things taken from them, and they lost their lives. See, the welding industry up in Massachusetts was one of the only ways of life up there. And for a black man to create something that would employ white men, where he would be economically over white men in 1800s, was something that was never going to happen. So this man had to suffer a tragic injury that would result in his death, and then they would take his invention and take it to the next level. These are the things that they're not going to teach you in your school, because we are under a system of systematic racism enforced by white supremacy. Let's go back up to this brother's name. This is Lewis Temple. And you had You had thousands and thousands of black men and women. Wait till I get to the next one. Of black men and women that's obscure or erased from history that they don't want you to know. But George is going to bring it to light. I'm invoking these ancestors tonight. I'm bringing all these ancestors back to life. These ancestors is known again through the spirit of George Macon. So, like I said, this brother, he invented the temple toggle or the iron temple. It was a harpoon that successfully was able to stop whales from getting away. You got anything you want to say, Moses? Before we move on.
Yeah, man, I like that the element that they brought in, which they can verify too.
You there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, went out for a minute.
Oh yeah, so I like that element that they can trace back with archaeology, being the harpoon was similar to those in prehistoric Africa, and we know that they were sailors. They were going across the world long before other folks invented or knew what a boat was and things. So I like that they threw that in there. That's something that can be researched and verified. Man, the brother was awesome, man. I don't know how he may have had that vision or that dream, or seeing the need and then being able to connect it to the harpoon, but it does show that the intelligence that originated in Africa thousands of years ago still resides in the African American today. And that's what the most scary and most threatening thing is to a society that would not have these institutional discriminatory practices, is that African Americans, given their true worth, their true productive capacity, would excel beyond measures.
Yeah, they playing the game now. We watch this one though. What's up, Smashville TV? We got Brother Rob in the house. We got Greg Lancaster's there book that has yeah, I'll post one in the chat. The history. Yeah, the history. Okay, yeah, Brother Rob put one in there. That's what's up, Brother Rob. We got King Life. You know, Brother Rob, when I'm doing other videos, man, on a lot of fire and brimstone, I get a lot of people. I don't get a lot of people in the chat room, man. When I would prefer to have 200 people in the chat room when I'm doing this, Moses, than when I'm talking to other stuff. I don't care if nobody came in the chat room when I'm talking to other stuff. This right here, what I'm doing now, to me, is the most important videos I've ever done, because this is teaching our history and let us know that we were greater than what they told us we were. So this is short. Let's just get to this lady here. This is a lady that's not going to be remembered in history, but this is a black woman. Her name was Eglin, the creator of the clothes wringer. Some of you guys, if you in your 40s or older, you might remember your grandma when you might have not had a wash machine or something at the crib, and she would put the clothes in a tub and wash them on a board, and then they would wring them out. Well, back in the day, they had like this wringer. I remember my grandmother used to wash clothes and used to use. Man, listen, let's just get to it, man. So this is the image of the wringer. This here is an image of what she created and how she created all of these different things and put it together. So now we talking about geometry, we talking about measurements, we talking about all the different things where they said we couldn't read or do math or all these things, but a woman created this. So it says in the late 1800s, Eglin invented a type of clothes wringer which had two rollers to handle. The rollers were made of two wooden pins placed on top of each other. Once the handle is turned, the pins roll. So this is just a short story. Oh, hold on. I'm sorry, y'all. I was moving too fast. Ellen Eglin was born in Washington, D.C. in 1849. She was a housekeeper and a government clerk. So she was a housekeeper and a government clerk, right? In the late 1800s, she invented a type of clothes wringer in which two rollers crank and a crank handle. The rollers were made of two wooden pins and placed on top of each other. Each handle is turned. The pins roll. Because a black woman could not get a patent in the 1800s, Eglin sold her patent to a white woman for $18. In 1890, Eglin was quoted as saying, to woman inventor, I am black, and if it was known that a Negro woman patent the invention, white ladies would not buy the ringer. So I'm gonna say something, but I'm gonna finish reading first. I'm gonna get into that. I was afraid to be known because of my color, and having it introduced into the market, that was the only reason. Subsequently, Eglin did not profit off of her creation. Hoping to patent a second creation, unfortunately, she did not showcase her invention at the Women's International Industrial Inventors Congress. She never went on to register either of her inventions. Though much is unknown about the events of Eglin's life, she went on to remain a government worker. Now, I want y'all to understand something. In the paragraph, it says that I was afraid to be known because of my color and having it introduced into the market. That is the only reason. Subsequently, Eglin did not profit. She said that Eglin was quoted as saying to the woman's inventor, I am black. And if it was known that a Negro woman patented the invention, white ladies would not buy the ringer. I want you guys, a lot of these guys out here that like swirling, dealing with these white women and all this kind of stuff. I keep telling y'all, the white woman has been complicit in the destruction of the Negro people in this land just as much as the white man. She has never been your friend, and she never will be. They send her into your communities as teachers, Jesus Christ and Latter-day Saints, and all these different things, but she is just as devilish as her father and grandfathers. She is complicit. And all you got to do is read the writings and the stories of our ancestors from before, and they will tell you how devilish this white woman has been. But a lot of times we don't honor our people, man. So this woman couldn't get her just due from her invention that thousands of people all up and down the colonies and around America was using, because she was black, because she knew that white women would not fucking support her. But what do I know? What's up, Lolita? What do I know? She had to sell it for $18. So this is just another proof of how white women have been complicit in the destruction of our people, man, of the Negro people. She doesn't have much on her life, but they mention this, and she's another obscure person that you're not going to know about in your schools. So today, when you get this information I'm dropping today, 90% of these people you probably never even heard of, because I like to bring the obscure information. Let's go. I ain't gonna go to that one yet. I'm gonna save that one. All right, yeah, let's go here. Because I got some real good ones coming. Matter of fact, no, let's get him out the way. Let's go to Henry Thomas Henry Samson, Henry Thomas Samson. You there, Moses?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. You outside? Did you hear that?
Yeah, I started looking up Eglin on some other sources. Even though Wikipedia got a second invention that she came out with, there's some information that it says, despite wanting to exhibit the new model at the Women's International Industrial Inventors Congress, so she wanted to go big with her idea, she never went on to patent it. In fact, there was no information that she ever created this invention. She went on to work as a clerk in the census office. That's what you said. She was in one of those rare positions because there was only a few African-American inventors. So she set the stage for later inventors, such as, and one of my favorites, which everybody knows, is Madam C.J. Walker. We know Madam C.J. Walker because she is madam of the man C.J. Walker, who, just like Eglin said, I had to sell it to a white woman. Madam knew that it was a male-dominated industry, business and sales. So she took her husband's name and just put the name Madam in front of it. And then there's also Sarah Boone. So there's a lot of that we might see throughout history where the women had played instrumental roles in the creation of these inventions, And yet, because it was a male-dominated industry, the men can get the recognition. And if not the men, then the white folks who can get the recognition. And that's why we get driven into obscurity. And today it's even more dangerous because we have a faction of African Americans who no longer want to recognize the significance of the African American woman in general. They want her to be known as a ratchet. They want her to be known as less than. And thus we have a dilemma because their greatness, the greatness that was in Madam C.J. Walker, the greatness that was in women like Ellen Eglin, is just to be left to obscurity unless we're willing to fight for, protect, and provide for our women. Big up. Let's go to the next one.
Yeah, and I have the majority of people I'm showing that they are going to be women. The women, black women, was very instrumental in the creations of things that moved the 21st century, moved the 20th century. Like listen, they can miss me with that crap about black women and black women being in trouble and all that kind of stuff. I got receipts. So let's get into Henry Thomas Samson. Born in Jackson, Mississippi in 1934, Henry Thomas Samson is a prolific inventor and pioneer in the field of nuclear engineering. Samson is also a pioneer in the technology that is used in modern cell phones. Everybody got a cell phone. Everybody here got a cell phone. So this brother right here is the pioneer. In technology used in modern cell phones. But contrary to widely held belief, he didn't invent the cell phone. He just was the one that invented the technology that's used in the cell phones for it to work. So if you didn't have his invention, you wouldn't even have a cell phone. The cell phone creation was a collective thing, The eldest child of Esther and Henry T. Samson, Henry Jr. has a younger brother named John. After graduating from Laner High School in Jackson, Mississippi in 1951, Samson attended Morehouse College in Atlanta, Georgia for 2 years. He later transferred to Purdue University in Lafayette, Indiana, where he earned a BS degree in chemical engineering in 1956. Samson continued his studies and earned a MS degree in chemical engineering in 1961 from the University of California, Los Angeles, UCLA. He continued his graduate studies and pursued a doctoral degree in nuclear engineering from the University of Illinois. Man, he was in school forever. At Urbana-Champaign. In 1967, he became the first African-American in the United States. We're going to say this again. In 1967, he became the first, not the second, not the last, not the brother up the street or in the window, the first African-American in the United States to earn a PhD in nuclear engineering. So when we talk about our people dealing in engineering and dealing with nuclear science and space, think of this brother first, because he was the one that paved the way for you. This is a brother, Henry Thomas Samson. He was the one that was in that lab in the schools facing racism and putting in that work to get his PhD in nuclear engineering. Samson has held many important professional positions during his prolific career. After earning his BS degree in chemical engineering, he accepted an appointment at a research engineer with the U.S. Navy Naval Weapons Center in China, in China Lake, California, from 1956 to 1961. After completing his PhD in nuclear engineering, Samson accepted a position as a project engineer with Aerospace Corporation in El Segundo, California. He held the post from 1967 to 1981. He was later appointed Director of Planning and Operations for Aerospace Corporation from 1981 to 87, where his research team focused on powering and launching satellites. Samson is a prolific inventor who holds several U.S. patents. In 1971, he co-invented the gamma electric cell with George H. Malley. The gamma electric cell converts high radiation energy, gamma rays, to electricity. Due to his co-invention of the gamma electric cell, Samson is mistakenly cited as the inventor of the cell phone. No, he didn't invent the cell phone. He invented the technology that's in the cell phones for you to have a cell phone. So he was the one that invented that technology, and then the inventor of the cell phone took that part, put their parts in it, and now you have a cell phone. But he was the one that learned how to harness gamma rays to electricity. A black man, again. Samson also holds several other patents focused on the development of rocket propellants, fuels. In 1973, Samson invented an improved, invented an improved process of case bonding of propellant grains with a rocket chamber. Dr. Samson married Dr. Laura Hosewell Young Samson, who was an associate professor in the College of Education, California State University, San Francisco, Bernardino. So this brother right here was the one, well, all of us got cell phones. He was the one that he figured out how to convert highly radiation energy gamma rays into electricity. Where you at, Moses?
Hey man, that's my Morehouse brother right there, man. Expect nothing less than greatness.
I mean, what I'm saying is they give us stories that we should overcome, and we marching, and everybody's poor, but yet still during that time, you got a goddamn brother in the fucking lab. I said I wasn't gonna cuss. You have a black man in the lab, and he's converting gamma rays into electricity for you to be able to use it into a cell to create a cell phone. I mean, I'm confused. I thought that we was just fighting for civil rights, Moses. I didn't know we was in the labs doing this stuff.
Smoke and mirrors, my friend. Smoke and mirrors, Brother George. Hey, so you have to have the civil rights momentum that's saying we need educational resources to be deployed into the impoverished communities. You got to have people out there marching and pushing for policy on the political fronts. And then you need examples like this brother who didn't even attend Morehouse until 3 years after Martin Luther King Jr. had graduated, but he was still under the same president. So he probably received the same calling from Dr. Benjamin Elijah Mays. He took that and then went all the way up to Indiana for Purdue so that he could let his calling manifest. The man was a genius. And even at Morehouse College today, we didn't have the labs and the facilities that would be able to cater to someone with his genius. We can have a textbook, but that textbook won't allow you to actually explore the deeper level of sciences. You can have a telescope, but it won't allow you to get to the gamma electric level. You can have, your teachers. You're probably smarter than many of the teachers because they were educated in HBCUs or whatnot. And so what I'm saying is these are the opportunities that have to be brought to the forefront. The opportunities like this young man who was able, well, he's not so young, but when he was young, being able to go to college, find his calling, and then to leverage his skill set and the way his mind thinks. And as long as they're closing the doors on African Americans or only establishing affirmative action quotas on the number of African Americans or basing intelligence off of standardized tests that were customized to be an impetus against African Americans, we will not resonate or we will not realize the true potential of our productive capacity. Bang, bang.
Yeah, and Moses, he took high radiation gamma rays, which if there was one mistake, that whole lab would have blew up. You know what I mean? Radiation explosions they've had around the world in Russia in different labs and certain experiments that they was having. So, and I did the one on my last part 5 where I showed the brother was creating synthetic blood, and damn, I gotta go back to part 5. But yeah, this brother, he turned gamma rays into electricity due to the co-invention of gamma ray. He created the gamma electric cell, and this is why they call your phone a cell phone. This is why your phone, he didn't invent the actual cell phone. He actually invented the gamma cell, electric cell, for you to have a cell phone. So the question I would have to ask again to the black community is, where is our money? Where's our money? Every time you got a cell phone in your hand, you should think of Henry Thomas Samson. Not him creating the actual phone, but him creating the gamma electric cell for a cell phone to actually work.
Essentially, Brother George, you have to be able to convert sound and that energy to convert sound to be transmitted. And that's what they needed, was an energy force that would be compatible with the sound that you give it. So you can have the audio. They already had like sonic, and they can do things with sonic, but they didn't know how to pair sonic with energy. So you had these big block things in the telephones that were plugged into its source. And you could not have a cell phone unless you had some type of energy component or an energy cell that was small and safe. And that's what the brother, his genius, was able to create.
Man, this dude was the man. Let's move on. Let's go here. Let's go to let's go here. Let's go to so some of you guys might know who this person is. Let's get the let's make sure we hitting that like button when y'all come in. Everybody come in, or if you in, please make, if you didn't hit the like button, hit the like button. And I want everybody watching, if you got a Facebook page or a YouTube page, please share this video to everybody that you show it to, your mother, show it to your sons, show it. That's why I'm not cussing. Show it to your daughters, your wives, your teachers, your students. If you're a teacher, show it everywhere. I don't care. Share this video everywhere and to anybody that you can possibly share it to. And make sure if you're in there, everybody hit that like. If we got 45 people watching, it should be 45 likes. Let's get it. Daniel Hale Williams III was a pioneer surgeon, best known for performing in 1893, one of the world's first successful open heart surgeries. Williams was born on January 8th, 1856 in Hollidaysburg, Pennsylvania, to Sarah Price Williams and Daniel Hale Williams II. Following the death of his father, Williams lived with his family, friends in Baltimore, Maryland, and with family in Illinois. From 1866 to 1878, where he was a shoemaker apprentice and barber until he decided to pursue his education. In 1878, Williams' interest in medicine began when he worked in the office of Henry Palmer, a Wisconsin surgeon. In 1880, he enrolled in the Chicago Medical College, receiving a Doctor of Medicine degree 3 years later. Immediately after graduation, Williams opened his own practice in Chicago and taught anatomy at Chicago Medical College. He became a trailblazer, setting high standards in medical procedures and sanitary conditions, including adopting recently discovered sterilization procedures and regard to germ transmission and prevention. He also avoided the then common practice of black doctors being barred from staff privileges and in white hospitals by starting his own hospital. Wait a minute. Is that something that we can learn today? We're tired of the narrative, the way we've been portrayed. We're tired of nooses being put in GM corporations. We're tired of being marginalized. We're tired of not feeling like we're accepted. Well, wait a minute. This brother went and started his own. Are we still having the same conversation in 2019 about starting our own when this brother did something back in the 1800s? We got to do better, family. We got to do better. Our ancestors paved the way, man, and they laid the groundwork down. We got to do better, man. It says that in 1891, Williams co-founded Provident Hospital and Training School Association in a 3-story building on Chicago's South Side. Damn. And look what the South Side of Chicago has become, man. At the time when only 909 black physicians served 7.5 million African Americans. Provident was the first black controlled hospital in the nation. Hey, Moses, we got to look that up. We definitely got to look that up and bring that to the people. It's Provident was the first black controlled hospital in the nation. So it would be Provident Hospital in Chicago. We got to check that out. Because I didn't even, that was my fault. I should have that information. Yet Provident was also the first medical facility to have an interracial staff and the first training facility for African-American nurses in it. Man, this hospital wasn't no joke. In the U.S., during Williams' tenure as physician owner from 1891 to 1912, Provident Hospital grew largely due to its extremely high success rate and patient recovery of 87%. So yeah, look that up, most Provident Hospital. While I read on. In 1893, Williams. Now watch this, y'all. Watch this, brother Rob. In 1893, Williams daringly performed open heart surgery on a young black man, James Cornish, who had received several stab wounds in his chest. Despite having a limited array of surgical equipment in medicine, Williams opened Cornish chest cavity and operated on his heart without the patient dying from infection. Cornish recovered within 51 days and went on to live went on to live for 50 more years. Man, now nationally recognized, Williams in 1894. Now, mind you, this happened in the 1800s. Now, we know that the first open heart surgery was done by a black man it was the 50s, but they don't tell you about this brother. That was before the brother in the 50s. Williams was appointed chief surgeon at Freeman's Hospital in Washington, D.C. Now the white man want a piece of him. As chief surgeon, Williams set high standards for doctors from all over the world. Again, a melanated brother from a melanated mind, but I thought we was chimps. How can a chimpanzee go to Washington, D.C. to work in Freeman's Hospital? They were still hanging up people at that time. See what I'm saying? He also recognized Freeman Hospital, which had suffered years of neglect, instituting a training school for black nurses, employing a multiracial staff, improving surgical procedures, developing ambulance services, come on, man, and providing staff opportunities for numerous black physicians. Now, this is the epitome of what pro-black is. So when you hear Negroes saying that they don't like pro-blacks, you show them my video, because this is what pro-black is. If you don't like pro-blacks, you be a better pro-black. You be the pro-black that your ancestors set out to be. And you pick up on what they do, what they laid out, and you build upon that to be greater. So you can never say, for a black person to say that they hate pro-black, I implore you black people to get away from those people, because they are disrespectful to themselves. They are disrespectful to themselves. You can never not be pro-black and be a Negro here in America when we got this rich history of our people, man, and the contributions that our people left. That's been forgotten about like raindrops on a window pane. And it's people like me, like George, and other brothers and other sisters that gotta bring this information back to light. And you got the audacity to bring some of y'all, bring y'all black behinds up here on Black YouTube and say you ain't pro-black. Excuse me, I got turned up for a minute.
Yeah, let me give you a second. So I'm looking up Providence Hospital. One of the things that stands out to me is Providence Hospital. They also have a Providence Foundation. The foundation is a nonprofit that provides scholarships to students in the Chicago area to pursue careers in the medical field, as well as preserve the history of Providence Hospital. So when you look at their webpage, you'll see a whole lot of African Americans working there, nursing staff, all the way up and down the hospital, even the janitors. So when we have these conversations with the black conservatives and they want to throw out statistics about just how horrible Chicago is and the gang violence and such, we can pose as a solution, the healthcare space. Have them talking about, well, do you see a need for that? If there's violence there, do you see a need for the healthcare space? Education, high school dropout rates, any of those things can still be positioned back to these same talking points. Well, did you even know that big first hospital for African Americans, brought to you by an African American man, Daniel Williams, is right there? They have scholarships and foundations that can help. And the best thing that you can do, rather than degrading Chicago and the deplorable situation in those neighborhoods, is be an advocate for those careers, be an advocate for getting those scholarships, be an advocate. Use your platforms like our brother ABL, who just hit 250,000 subscribers. Use your platform not to denigrate African Americans, especially not those in Chicago who are experiencing these hardships, but use your platform to speak well of those who are creating opportunities to help those brothers and sisters in their time of need, even there in Chicago. So I'm gonna let you get back to it, but I got to throw in those tidbits just to keep you level-headed, man.
Damn right. I want to say I got my big bro Dame Doe in the house. He old school with that name Dame Doe. I got Dame Doe and I got my little brother Teron in the house. Yeah, so it's good to have your folks up in here, watching as you lay down this information, man. But like I say to everybody again, share this information. Share it to everybody. Put it to everybody. I'm hoping and praying to the Most High that one of these African American inventors videos go viral. It needs to go viral. I need to turn on YouTube one day and it has 30,000 views, one of them. And this ain't for my glory. This is for black people to get this information out, because you're not going to be taught this stuff in school. We need this thing to go viral and get the likes up, y'all. Although, so let's read on. Although he recognized the value of racial integration in the medical field, Williams in 1895 co-founded the National Medical Association, NMA, because black medical practitioners were denied admission to the all-white American Medical Association. In 1898, Williams left the Freedmen's Hospital, married Alice Johnson, and moved her to Chicago, where he returned to, damn right, he came back home, to Providence Hospital. Among the numerous honors and awards bestowed on Williams, perhaps the most groundbreaking was his becoming in 1993 the first black member of an exclusive American College of Surgeons. After years of settling in Chicago, Williams became affiliated with Meharry Medical College in Nashville, Tennessee. For the next 2 decades, he was a visiting clinical surgeon. He was also now invited to work at larger hospitals, including Cook County Hospital, at the St. Luke's Hospital on Chicago's South Side from 1907 to 1926. In 1926, Williams retired from St. Luke's after surviving a debilitating stroke. He lived out his retirement years in Idlewild, Michigan. Yeah, he was all over the place. An all-black resort community until his death, August 4th, 1931. He was 75 at the time of his death. This was an amazing man. This was a man that if you'd have told me when I was young about these type of men, Emmett Epperson, brothers like him, maybe a lot of us wouldn't have got into drug dealing. Maybe a lot of us would have strived to want to be like this man. If you would have taught us and infused this into our mind and pushed this to us and let us know that we can't, showed us the greatness we came from. Instead of giving us movies like Scarface and New Jack City and Hell Up in Harlem and all those different things, if we'd have had this information as kids, when instead of me going to the basket trying to be Isaiah Thomas, I would have been trying to be somebody like this brother here. This stuff is this information is very important, man. Very important to our children. Queen Mother Moore wasn't no joke. We're going. I'm gonna actually. I actually got a brother coming in that's going to do a live stream on Queen Mother Moore, my brother. So that's coming. That's coming. Just make sure you continue to watch Black Cloud Miami, because that Queen Mother Moore is coming. Let's go here, because let's go to one more brother, because then we got the women. Now, this right here gonna blow your mind. This right here is gonna blow your mind. Let's go up. Let's see. Joseph Lee, baking up a storm. This right here, Moses. This is something else.
Yes, sir.
This right here, man. This dude right here, he created the automatic breadcrumb and the bread making machine. So all the bread that you got in your cabinet, on top of your refrigerator, or in your refrigerator, you can think of Joseph Lee, another black man, sitting there trying to figure out how he can make his work easier. But this is the thing. I want y'all to look at the machine. See, this is the whole thing, Moses. Forget the bread that he did, the engineering in it. Look at the machine, Moses. I thought how can chimpanzees and orangutans and gorillas have the foresight to do this engineering work and create these machines, Moses? I need somebody to explain this to me. You know, I need an explanation, because they told us that we was deaf, dumb, and blind, man, and out of our mind. We didn't have the foresight. We didn't have the foresight or the knowledge to actually. I mean, Moses, look at the engineering in this picture. Joseph Lee was born in 1849 and lived most of his life in Boston, Massachusetts. His world was the food industry, and his glorious career in food service began when he was only a boy and worked in a bakery. Later, he would work as a waiter and a cook, and a hotel manager. Armed with hands-on experience, Joseph eventually began preparing, cooking, and serving food. He was so successful that he opened 2 restaurants in the Boston area that went on to own and manage popular Woodlawn Park Hotel for 17 years. Ever in love with the food industry, Joseph opened his own catering business called the Lee Catering Company in 1902. He divided his time between dazzling the members of the wealthy Boylston Street community with his dishes and operating the Squantum Inn, a summer resort that specialized in seafood. It was during the peak of his success as a master chef that Joseph got an idea for the breadcrumbing machine. In his opinion, throwing out day-old bread was a waste when it could instead be used to prepare foods. He had long felt that breadcrumbs were superior to the cracker crumbs, so he quickly began working on a device that automatically tore, crumbled, and ground day-old bread into crumbs. On June 5th, 1895, Joseph patented his breadcrumb machine. Above is a picture of Joseph using his brand new invention to make breadcrumbs from various dishes like batter for cakes, fried chops, fried fish, and croquettes. So let's go up where you can see the engineering in the picture, what I was showing you guys. This is the picture of his machine that he put together. So that means that he didn't just have knowledge, information just on cooking. He had to have engineering knowledge, because he had to think and understand how to put this thing together to make this stuff work. Who was this guy? Huncho Black. Get this guy out of get out of my chat. See, you always get a demon that comes into the hold on for a second. You always get a demon that comes into that want to ruin the one. What's up, Dr. Ford? Hold on, let me hide this guy. Get this guy up out of here. Yeah, you're going. You're going. You get these demons that want to come in. They don't want us to get this information. So this is the engineering and all the things. So it says so now as we go back down, Joseph's machine was so efficient it reduced manpower by 75%. You there, Moses?
Yes, sir.
Now, did you hear what they just said? This machine was so efficient that it reduced manpower by. So that means that he created a machine where business owners didn't have to pay out as much money anymore because the machine was doing the work.
That's it.
But this is the whole thing, Moses. Look at the engineering behind the machine. See, they said he was a great cook, but he invented a machine. So he was more than just a chef. What does knowing how to saute a goddamn steak got to do with making a machine like this? Now let's get down to Joseph soon. So that wasn't it. Joseph soon sold his wonderful invention to the Royal Worcester Breadcrumb Company of Boston. Not long afterwards, this lucky company placed the machine in major restaurants around the world. Well, wait a minute. Moses, he sold the company. And then they took what he invented and they sold it to restaurants around the world. He should have been a multi-millionaire, which probably would be equivalent to a billionaire back then. What's up, solving the race problem? Yeah. Moses, you got to mute up. You got a sound coming through. Yeah. Yeah, it said, okay. Yeah, it says, but Joseph wasn't finished. He soon invented a bread making machine, as you can see in the right. So now he got the breadcrumb machine, but then he went back to the lab and he created a bread making machine, as you can see the picture to the right, that could mix ingredients and knead dough so quickly and effectively, efficiently. It did the work of 6 men and did it cheaper and more hygienically than it had ever done before. Man, what would they do without us, man? What would they do without us solving the race problem? The other bakers of New York City trembled in their boots when they heard about Joseph's new machine, certain that it would put them out of business. Joseph's machine is the predecessor of bread making machines still used today. So they took this man, a black dude. He had all those white racist business owners that would not give him a job. He said, "You won't give me a job. Okay, the hell with you. I'll make this machine." Because we was experiencing overt racism, so we had no choice. We had no choice but to make inventions and creations of our own. So when you eating a tuna fish sandwich or a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, you better think of Joseph Lee. It was a black man behind this, making moves. And you need to understand that he was responsible for mass production because he created a machine that reduced manpower by 75%. He created another machine that did the work of 6 men and did it more hygienically. So he made the cost of mass producing cheaper because you didn't have to pay as many employees. You guys need to understand just how much money that's worth. Right, black male empowerment. Peace to you. So can we do the name that? The other bakers of Joseph Lee died in 1905 and will always be remembered for his food preparation and as a pioneer. Now, how come for those of y'all in the chat room, how come y'all was never taught of this, brother? How come they never taught y'all about Joseph Lee when you was in school eating your sandwich? How come the history teacher, before you bit into that bread, said, "Hey son, let me tell you about Joseph Lee, the inventor of making breadcrumbs and making bread in mass production"? We got another troll in here. Of course you're gonna get the trolls coming. I ain't got none of my hold on, I don't have none of my yeah, let me get it. I get it. You always get the idiots that come in. You always get the idiots that come in, you know, when we putting this work down. But that's all right though, because them monkeys ain't gonna stop no show. Yeah, go ahead, Moses.
Yeah, man, I was just looking it up because, you know, it strikes me, you got to give them things that they can resonate with. And I know in my household, this might only be my personal testimony, but we eat out a lot. We go to McDonald's. I got some Burger King sitting right here. So the first question I had in my head was, who supplies the the McDonald's buns? If they're selling the 3 billion burgers every year, then they had to get that bun. What is the value of this machine? Man, when I went to it, I said, you know, I just Googled it, who supplies McDonald's buns? And then it opened up one of the drop down links, OC Register, looked at it, and the first image that you see is a machine just like this one. The first image that you see is a machine just like this one. 17 bakeries for their #1 supplier is McDonald's for the buns. They got 17 bakeries, a multi-million-dollar, and it's just for their one supplier of McDonald's buns. Now that's just McDonald's, but how many other bread companies do you see out there besides McDonald's or Burger King, which takes bread and adds a meat and a vegetable to it? But it's still just a bread company, not just your Hostess and all those other folks who take flour, water, dough, put them in a little process, and then run them through our big brother's machine to create these type of buns and breads.
Yeah, and see, Moses, it said that they took the the Royal Worcester Bread Company took of Boston not long after. They brought it and they put it in major restaurants around the world. So it went around the world, and then they began to develop technology off of what he made, and they just took it. So what I'm trying to say to black people is we always should get our reparations. But if we got the just due from all our inventions, man, what do you think, Moses? We will be the class, we will be the top class ethnic group in America.
1,400 dozen. So that's 1,400 times 12 English muffins. That little English muffin that they have in the morning for breakfast. It's hard to quantify it because you can't see it back in those times, but 1,400 dozen of them. So 12 of them, 12,000, what is it? 16,000 of them every hour is cranked out of this one facility. So when you say, well, what is the value of this man's invention? Start there.
Mass production. He started the mass production in the bread industry. This was a black man. So we have a black man that started the frozen food department. We have a black man that started mass production in cars with the hell. Hold on a second. In cars with the plant. And George Washington Carver. We have a black man that started the mass production in. Hold on a second. All right, I'm back. That was my door. All right, here we go. So we know. So now we have a black man that created the mass production in the bread industry. So this is Joseph Lee. So make sure you guys look up Joseph Lee. So let's get to the women, because I started out with a woman. So let's go. Let's see where we at. Yeah, we started out with a woman was first. We did Joseph Lee. We did him. Let's go here. Yeah, let's go here. This woman here is, I'll show you a picture after we read her story. This is Marian Croak. Hold on a second. Let's pull her up. And you guys get to see the contributions. You guys get a chance to see the actual contributions of black women, because they try to say that they're trying to tell us that black women messed up the community and black women traded on black men and they didn't do all this stuff. Well, I disagree. I beg to differ. You know, we have a group dysfunction in the black community, and it's not, the black woman is no worse than the black man. The black man is no worse than the black woman. We have a collective trauma. But today we want to show the contributions of a lot of powerful black women, as I've been showing in my series. Mary R. Croak has contributed to the expansion of technology, especially voice over internet protocol, the VoIP. Throughout her career, Croak attended the University of California and Princeton University, graduating with a PhD in qualitative analysis and social psychology in 1982. I don't even know what the hell that is. Qualitative analysis and social psychology or physiology in 1982. Little is known about her early life, about the early life of Mary R. Croak. She was born in 1955 in Pennsylvania and has spoken about how her father was often the influence in her success, and that throughout her childhood, he pushed her to pursue her passion for science, though as many creative ways as possible, such as building a chemistry lab in their home. In 1982, Dr. Croak joined AT&T Bell Laboratories, where she served in various positions until September 2014. With her positions, Dr. Croak completed a variety of assignments, including working with voice and data communications. In fact, Dr. Croak holds over 200 patents. So this black woman right here, she holds over 200. What's up, King Sir? She holds over 200 patents in several areas, but the majority are in VoIP, where she has received over 100 patents. With this technology, Dr. Croak has helped advance technology, including calling and text messaging on cellular phones. So the thing is, your messages and your calling and your text messaging, this is a black woman. So everybody watching right now, when you're doing your text messaging and you're doing your calling messaging, think of this woman, Dr. Marian Croak. A white person didn't do this. So now we have a black person that created the cell, the gamma electric cell. Then we have a black woman that created the technology for you to do your text messaging worldwide and your calling messaging worldwide. But how come they're not telling us this though? Lolita, Teller Green, Dr. Ford. Dr. Ford, when you was going to school to be a doctor, did you know this stuff? Was they giving you this? We text all day. Dr. Croak also has more patents which are under review. Although Dr. Croak has applied for have been granted over 350 patents. Throughout her career, Dr. Croak worked her way up the ladder within AT&T Laboratories. Among her positions, she's held the title of Vice President of Services Network and Research and Development. In this position, Dr. Croak is responsible for over 200 programs detailing with AT&T wireline and wireless services. She was also supervisor to over 500 world-class engineers and computer scientists, world-class engineers and scientists who will help Dr. Croak run the programs. Come on, man. Come on, man. Like, why they not teaching young girls that's twerking on YouTube? I mean, twerking on Instagram and twerking on Facebook before they even get to this type of stuff, that they can strive to be like this black woman, man, instead of showing titties and butts. This black woman is achieving greatness with her clothes on, with her mind, man. Man, Dr. Croak was then promoted to the rank of AT&T Senior Vice President in Applications and Service Infrastructure. With this title, her responsibilities grew to supervise over 2,000 world-class scientists and engineers. Along with that, the number of programs she helped manage grew from 200 to over 500. Dr. Croak would not only mentor her staff, but was also in charge of development, testing, service planning, and production and product realization. In 2014, Dr. Croak left AT&T Labs and started working for Google as their vice president for research and development for access strategy and emerging markets. Here, Dr. Croak is responsible for expanding what the internet is capable of doing around the world. For instance, Dr. Croak is passionate about getting internet into areas of the world where there is none. With all these accomplishments throughout her career, it should not be a shock to anyone that in 2013, Dr. Marian Croak was inducted into the Women's and Technology International's Hall of Fame. I'm gonna have to look into that and extract all the black women out of that they never even told y'all about. Make sure we get that down, Moses. The Women's and Technology International Hall of Fame, and we got to get the black women out of there, because we're gonna do a video just on all the black women that's in that Hall of Fame. Since they say these black women destroyed the community and they have no accomplishments, I beg to differ. On top of her accomplishments, Dr. Croak also served on the Holocaust, Genocide, and Human Rights Educational Centers boards. Dr. Croak also enjoys running and spending time with her 3 adult children. Man, this woman was nothing but amazing, man. I mean, she was supervising over world-class scientists and engineers, and she was their boss. You know, she was the one responsible for bringing forth the technology for your text messaging and your call messaging and all these different things. This is a black woman. Let me show y'all a picture of her so y'all can see her. This is her right here. This is Marian Croak right here. As you can see over here to the right, this black woman here. Man, sometimes, man, like this stuff be so powerful. Like when you research this information. And I don't care what people's political beliefs are. I don't care about, man, like what your spiritual beliefs are. When you just see the greatness of Black people that they never told us, that they lied to us about, that your preachers in the pulpit didn't tell you. They gave you a study diet of Jesus, but they never gave you the study diet. They never gave you the study diet of the contributions and the accomplishments of Black people. And this is why we never took the foundation of our religious beliefs and used them to empower ourselves, because all we ever did was wait for something to come and deliver us. We didn't understand the accomplishments that we brought to the table, man. Man.
I got to throw this in there because I remember being up late night when I probably wasn't supposed to, watching those little infomercials and them selling things. And I remember the internet wasn't booming. We used to have www.americaonline or something like that on a disc. But at that same time, a little bit later, they came out with another device that was allowing, like cell phone type things to happen. It was called the Magic Jack. And I remember seeing it on there. And this is the woman who actually invented that thing, or has the patent for the Magic Jack. She's responsible for the technology behind Skype. Are you kidding me?
Yes.
That's how businesses are operating, and businesses are becoming more efficient. If you're a Fortune 100 or even a Fortune 500 company and you're not doing conferences via Skype or some type of internet voice over internet protocol, then you're not as efficient as you could be. You're not doing those calls where I call, what did we used to do back in the day? They had those chat lines, party lines. I call somebody and they put me on three-way, and call somebody else and they put someone on three. You don't have to do that anymore. You can have Google Hangouts now, because this woman was brought into Google using the same type of technologies she already knew, created, and had teams build and work on. Man, this is a phenomenal person, and she's gorgeous. So shout out to Marian Croak, man. I got to do a little bit more research though, but I took the notes.
Yeah, we got to get that internet. She was inducted into the oh God, my grandbaby. She was inducted into the international what was it? The let me go back. I want to make sure I get that, because we got to get that. We got to extract all the our ancestors. She was inducted into the Women's in Technology International's Hall of Fame. I never even heard of that. The Women's in Technology International Hall of Fame.
Man, because the only Hall of Fames you heard about was playing sports, brother.
Absolutely. You ain't never lied, my brother. Now let's get to these amazing women. Now a lot of the women in the chat room, a lot of sisters in the chat room, you will appreciate this beautiful Black ancestor right here. Y'all, Dr. Ford, Lolita, but my other home, who else we got in here? We got you guys will appreciate this woman here. If my wife is upstairs watching, she'll definitely appreciate this woman, because this woman right here was she created something that Teller Green, she created something that everybody her creation, her inventions was very instrumental and important. All right, let's just go up to the top. Here. Hold on, my grandbaby. What are you doing? What? Juice? Yes. You gotta take the pacifier out. Juice, say juice. All right, hold on here. Now, get this juice and get up out of here. Pop teacher. Get. Say bye. Bye. All right. Here we go. Oh man, meet Mary and Mildred Davidson, inventors of the sanitary belt and tissue holder. So she invented the sanitary belt and the tissue holder. So let's get right to it. Oh, yes, they tried. They tried to say the white man created the sanitary. No, yeah, right. The white man ain't create no sanitary napkin. He stole it. All right, hold on. Get her. She gonna knock that on the floor. All right, here we go. Before the advent of disposable pads, women were using cloth pads and rags during their period. Tampons were available for women, but they were discouraged from using them because they were seen as not decent. So you already know a lot of them women are, man, they was looked as not decent. Mary Patrice Davidson Kenner, an African American inventor, and her sister Mildred Davidson Austin Smith founded an alternative in 1956, the sanitary belt. 3 years later, Mary invented the moisture-resistant pocket for the belt. This gave women a better substitute for handling their period, even if it was not as comfortable as modern sanitary pads. Well, this was the beginning of it. That's why. Kenner's sanitary belt with its moisture-proof napkin pocket made it less likely that menstrual blood could leak. Her invention was patented 30 years later, and it was introduced because the company, which was initially interested in her invention, rejected it when they realized that Kenner was an African American. Well, it's said in history that we taught these people how to bathe. We gave them history and knowledge. So now, back when women, because of technology, had to wear cloths and rags, the black women first start wearing the pads where they can properly clean themselves and smell fresh. And because she was black, the white side rejected her, and they continued to walk around funky. Where a black woman again said, "I'm gonna figure out a way," because she got tired of leakage and having to live like that. She created something for the world, for humanity, not just for black people, but for humanity. And these people rejected it because they found out that she was black. The same way they did the other black woman in the when I first started, that created the clothes wringer. She ended up having to sell it because they knew that because if they found out that she was black, they wouldn't market it. Right, Teller Green. Racism was that serious. They were so nasty that they were rejected and walk around with funky, you know what, just because a black woman created something that, man, listen. Her invention was patented 30 years after it was introduced because the company, which was initially interested in her invention, rejected it when they realized that Kenner was an African American. Nonetheless, Kenner went on to invent a lot of household items throughout her adult life. Along with her sister Mildred, Kenner patented the bathroom toilet tissue holder. Hey, look at this shit. Look. Oh, man. So when you on that porcelain throne, waiting for your bowels to move, you know what I mean? You reach over and start unrolling. What in the world? You reach over and start unrolling tissue on that toilet holder. You think of Mildred and Miss Kenner. Because these are two black women that created that, man. You got easy access, man. You just reach over and grab that toilet paper.
Hey, her entire premise was, man, y'all stink.
Yeah. Come on, man.
You got to do something about y'all stinking ass. Sorry, man.
Yeah, you sitting on that porcelain throne, man, putting in some work. Yeah, I mean, she sat on there and said she had to figure out ways. She had to figure out ways to make it less nasty and easier for you. So we was always thinking of being sanitary and cleaning ourselves, man, because it was a black person that created the toilet. And as a comedian would say, it was a black person that created the toilet, and we know why he made it white. And I'll leave it at that. along with her sister Mildred, they patented the tissue holder that allows the loose end of a roll to be accessible at all times. She further patented a backwasher that could be attached to the wall of a shower that could help people clean parts of their back that were hard to reach. Come on, man. Mildred was also struck with multiple sclerosis at a young age. Invented a child's board game that explored family ties. In 1980, she trademarked the game's name, family tradition. Her game was subsequently manufactured in several fashions, including in Braille language. Mary was the more prolific inventor of the two, as she wait a minute, my grandbaby's all over the place. As she eventually filed five patents in total, more than any other African American woman in history. So we got to look up Mary. I got to look that up. See, the more and more I study, the more and more I read, the more and more the Most High make sure I get more to keep coming back to teaching y'all, to bring y'all that they not telling us. So we got that, Moses. We got Mary was the more prolific inventor of the two. She eventually held 5 total patents, more than any other African American woman in history. The two sisters did not have any professional training, and they never became rich. Of course, they didn't from their adventures. But I know that there is toilet paper hostess in damn near every house around the freaking world. So why aren't they rich from their inventions? Because we never got our just due. People take poops every day. People take poops 2 to 3 times a day. And those toilet paper holders are on your wall, over to your right or your left, depending on how your house is built. And the 2 black sisters made that. They made inventions ultimately to improve the quality of life. The sisters were born in a town in Monroe, North Carolina, Charlotte. Mildred died January 31st, 1916. Mildred was born, January 31st, 1916, and died in 1993. Her sister was born 1912, but passed away at the age of 84. Where you at, Moses? What you think about that? When you talk about these toilet holders and how on the wall, these toilet paper holders and how they're global, worldwide.
I think it's another one of those cases that shows institution versus the self-determination. There's 2 arguments. One of them that says, well, if you're an individual, you ought to be able to self-actualize. Stop making excuses. Get out there and do it. You can go through the ideal stage, create something, go through your own loans, manufacturing like the first brother that you had, manufacture this thing and try to sell it, get shut down at the patent level because you're African American, and then still not be able to go against the forces of an institution. But you need a collective. You have to have a collective in order to do it. What you do for them. You can walk on the backs of a collective, a group of people, and what they've done, small steps or big steps. But trying to do it alone can still find itself being shut down in the corporate office or in the manufacturing office when you're going up against institutions. That's where it's at. I think this is another strong example of where somebody did everything that they were supposed to do. You're inventive, you've done the math, you've done the research, you've done the homework, you come up with this great idea, you put your time and your energy and your resources behind it, and yet an institution can still shut you down. Now you see this thing everywhere and she's not paid for it. Why is that? Because she went up with an institution.
And she created the sanitary napkin that women globally use. Is that a multi-billion-dollar industry around the world, Moses?
It and every derivative of it, yes.
And this face right here created it. Don't she look like everybody, Aunt Barbara or Aunt Bernadette? Don't she like Aunt Rosa Jean, Aunt Hattie Mae? She like Aunt Lola Mae. That's what she looked like. Dr. Ford, she like your Aunt Lola Mae. Dr. Ford, Lolita Dampierre. She like Aunt Rosie. Just a regular old black woman. Come on, man. They play this. She created the sanitary napkin, man. And it says that she created the sanitary napkin, and then the pocket, what made it less likely that menstrual blood couldn't leak. She did that. This was innovative. What's up, Doug? Yeah, she like Aunt Lucy May. You know, back in the day, our grandmoms had May. Lola May, Ada May, Hattie May. They had a May on the end of it. Darn well she looked like a Hattie May. Come on, man. That's Aunt Hattie May right there. Come on. Yeah, so let's make sure we get these beautiful ancestors, man, and know that Marian Mildred Davidson, right. Marian and Mildred Davidson was the inventors of the toilet tissue holder and the sanitary napkin. It was black women, man, not these corporations, these corporate structures. So for all you women, when you go put that tampon on, I want you to think of Marian and Mildred Davidson. You tell Green said, not Hattie Mae. Hattie Mae, Maddie Mae. Let's get to our last one. Let's get to this beautiful ancestor here, man. Uh-oh, it's going down now. Hey, Moses, this one right here gonna shake everything up.
This the one?
Yeah, this is the one right here. I want everybody in the chat room, including Lolita May. I want Dr. Ford May, Lolita May. I want Taylor Green May. I want all the Mays. I want all y'all to pull out your cell phones right now and go to. I got Aunt Gladys here. Aunt Gladys May. I want all y'all to pull out everybody in the chat room, pull out your cell phones. And I want you to go to your GPS. And I want you to hit the GPS on your cell phones right now. And I want you to look at it because we grade go, we grade turn up. Gladys West, who influenced GPS technology, inducted into Air Force Hall of Fame. So let's before we even read about it, let's just play a little short video real quick.
Chair recognizes the senator from King George, Senator Stewart, for the purposes of presenting our distinguished guests.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, today, I never did do well with these microphones. Mr. President, today we have a distinct honor in recognizing Miss Gladys May West of King George. And on behalf of the senator from Hanover and myself, Senator from Hanover also represents half of King George, for those of you all that don't know. Mrs. West is accompanied by her husband, Ira West, her daughter, Carolyn Oglesby, son-in-law, Barry Oglesby, her son, David West, daughter-in-law, Colleen West, and grandson, David West, Jr. And Mr. President, we're here today to celebrate and thank Mrs. West for what I believe are some truly remarkable achievements that have not only impacted the Commonwealth, but the entire globe. Ms. West was born in Dinwiddie County, and at an early age, she knew that success to life was through education, which, Mr. President, is the same thing my mother taught me. She graduated at the top of her high school class, and she was awarded a scholarship to Virginia State University. And there she received her bachelor's degree in mathematics. In 1956, she completed a master's degree, and with unparalleled skills in mathematics, she was hired at the Dahlgren Naval Proving Ground. She was only the second African-American woman to be hired there. It was in the 1950s through the 60s that Mrs. West worked on the calculations as a mathematician that led to satellites and the global positioning system. That is what we call GPS today, and I think many of us use it either in their cars or our phones. She collected information from orbiting machines, focusing on information that helped determine their exact location as they transmitted from around the world. Mr. President, if that wasn't enough, in 1979, Ms. West was made project manager for CSAT radar altimetry project, which was the first satellite designed for remote sensing of oceans with synthetic aperture radar. I have no idea what that means. After what can be deemed as a remarkable 42-year career, Ms. West retired from Dahlgren. She then earned her PhD from Virginia Polytechnic Institute and State University and is now writing her memoirs. When asked about the usage and impact of GPS in very humbling words, and I encourage you all to meet her because she's just a very fine, humble woman, she said that the data points could be wrong or outdated, so she prefers to do her own calculations on paper maps. Mr. President, I will tell you that we spend a lot of time in this General Assembly talking about barriers and how to break those barriers down to help people. Mrs. West is a lady who shattered those barriers. And in my mind, she is a real trailblazer that should inspire everyone. And it was about a month ago, I happened to see the newspaper on the coffee table one weekend when I was home, and I just saw this really nice picture of Mrs. West and Mr. West, her husband. And they were such nice faces. I picked up and I started reading. I was absolutely amazed to learn that she had developed GPS. So I thought it only proper for us to recognize her today in the Senate. So,
well, I'll stop it there because, you know, he said that he's amazed to learn that this Black woman developed the GPS that we use all around the world. Well, what I'm saying as the grandson would be, I don't want you to be amazed to learn. I want you to give my grandmother her money. I want your corporations to give her $1 billion check or $2 billion check, or just give her a blank check, because she developed the technology that you guys use all over the planet for all kinds of movement. So now you're coming on, you're surprised. Like, nah, man, give us our just due. That Black woman standing on that Black woman standing on that Black queen standing there on that podium, and you want to acknowledge her now. But you knew who created that, because y'all took it in y'all militaries and took it everywhere, and y'all took it for y'all own. So, man, listen, Gladys West, man, who introduced GPS technology, inducted into the Hall of Fame. Throughout the 1960s, Dr. West broke ground with her achievements in astrophysics. If y'all notice the silver lining in all of these videos, now that I'm up to number 6, that I started out with, I started out just saying, hey, history of African American inventors. I'm just going to do like 1 or 2, and it's taking on a life of its own. I'm now addicted to it. Like I can't stop. I'm up and I'm searching and looking and asking questions about people, and you know, and more stuff is coming. So, you know, Moses wrote down a couple other things that we'll have a part 7 now. But if you notice, our people was great at math and physics and sciences. We was amazing in the sciences. We got to get Black boys and Black girls back into creating and giving them the sciences and the math, man. I'm sending my son to the University of Pennsylvania camp this year, to computer camp. He's going to a computer coding camp this summer, where they're going to be teaching him computer code and artificial intelligence. That's what I'm sending my son to. And when you go there, it's all white kids, Indian kids, and Asian kids. Well, guess what? My son, his Black face is going to be in there with all those kids, learning how to write code. And in camp, I don't give a damn how much it costs. You got to invest in your children. Say your dad is a math. Yeah, yeah. You welcome, Cortland Hall. If any, if any of y'all know of any obscure inventors or names, make sure y'all put them in the chat room. If y'all got, matter of fact, hold on. Let me put my email address. Let me put my email address in the chat. Yes, Jay. This is my email address. That's my email address in the chat. If any of y'all got any obscure names, not the normal names that we all know, but the obscure names that was inventors that maybe somebody didn't know about, drop them in my email, and I'll do the research on them, and I'll put them in part 7 and part 8, that we can keep this going, because I do this for y'all children. I do this for my children. I do this for your family members. Right. So we got to make sure that we bringing this information. So let me read some more. According to Dr. West joined the Air Force and Missiles Pioneers Hall of Fame earlier this month for her prowess in the STEM field. Throughout the 1960s, Dr. West broke ground with her achievements in astrophysics. Within her time working for the country's Air Force, Dr. West also worked on a computer system that attempted to produce the most accurate coordinates for the base machinery. The technology advances served as the basis for the global positioning system GPS. I mean, when I just hear that, it just blows my mind, man. We just showed y'all the brother Joe who had the mass production in the bread. We showed y'all that black woman, man, who created the the voice messaging systems and all these different things, man. We showed y'all the brother who created the gamma ray cell for your cell phones. Now I'm showing y'all this black woman, man. I'm showing y'all this black woman who created the GPS, man. Like, are you serious? And when I'm on these sites and I'm hearing these black men and black women beat up on each other and just talk shit to each other, you ain't nothing. What has the black man done? What has the black woman done? Well, this video right here, I'm showing y'all what the black man and black woman has done. We've done a great deal. More than you can ever imagine we've done. We've moved the 21st century with our minds and our innovations and our inventions and our ingenuity and our zeal to fight back despite racial oppression and overt oppression against our ancestors and people. We've done far great things that we've ever got the recognition for. That's what we've done. I'm gonna have to begin to stay away from some of these panels and sites that exhibit such ignorance, man. Because I ain't no better than nobody, but I'm better than that. I'm better than that, man, and I know I am. And you guys have to be better than that. Like, this rich history that our ancestors have left us, man. Like, we got to be better than what we're displaying, man. Because we don't got no excuses today with all the rights and things that we got today that they didn't have. We got to take advantage of it. In 2018, hold on. All right, yeah. So it's basically saying, that she discovered the GPS positioning. So it's not really a whole lot on it. It just says that within her time for working the country's Air Force, Dr. West also worked on computer systems that attempted to produce most accurate coordinates in the machines, and that was basically the GPS. Where you at, Moses? What you got to say about this woman? You there, Moses?
Yeah, I'm here. I just be having to unmute the mic. Man, there's a lot that I can say about this woman. First and foremost, I love the economic ramifications of all of these devices and patents of this intelligence, taking mathematics and qualitative analysis is one of the hardest subjects, proofs and different things. And so where I see the benefit in it right now, you said pull out your cell phone, but every time somebody wants to download an app, whether it's Uber, look at the ramifications just for Uber itself and Lyft. But then every time you go to like these Facebook apps, oh, go ahead, my bad.
No, I'm sorry. No, I'm with you. They got to search for it. It has to search for it. So it
has to search for it.
Right.
And then every app that you want nowadays, it says, can I access, your friends list? Can I access your contact list? Can I access your location? So every major function of our capitalist society right now that is driven through technology, which is the new pull. The voice over internet protocol is just a new pull. The Internet of Things is the new pull. All of these major innovations are still riding on the coattails of the innovators that come from us, of that melanated first-class citizen that is the African American. And our experience, we were given God's gift. We were given God's intuitiveness, that curiosity, that creative nature. And it takes slavery. It takes a dysfunctional system to try to break that spirit. It takes them to be in charge of a school system to try to strip those early education school systems of the fundaments of science and make science seem like, oh, that's too hard or it's irrelevant. Math, to make math so complicated it no longer makes sense even at their early ages, and try to emphasize, well, can you read and can you write? And if you can't read and write, then we're going to develop a prison pipeline for you, because that's probably where you're going to end up, when the real fundaments was in understanding that we were the ones who had the basic skill set, the basic intuitiveness to do the scientific method to perfection, to explore these new concepts, to be pioneers of these new concepts and make them work for people across the globe. Not just an idea that would help improve the quality of life for me and my family, but the quality of life for anyone who can come into contact with these new inventions. Man, this is some powerful stuff right here, man. Powerful.
Yeah. So we're gonna recap for those that wasn't in before we get out of here. We start from where we started from. Well, I'll start from here and just work my way back. This was we started here. This was Bessie. This was Bessie Blount Griffin, and she was the one. She actually created let's see. She also created a food receptacle equipped with an electric motor that propelled food through a protruding tube. This tube was inserted into the patient's mouth, and upon biting down on it, a small portion of food was pushed into his mouth. The apparatus allows patients to eat independently and comfortably in an upright position. She got a patent for that, and that was like your precursor to like an IV.
She ended up selling that to the French government that they used for their military.
Absolutely. The French government came in and brought this black woman's idea, man. So when you go in the hospital and you see these IVs around the world, think of this black woman, Bessie May. Let's go to Joseph Lee as we recap, as we wind down. And as I break them in, Moses, just come in and ad lib right behind me. The automatic bread crumb and the bread machine maker. This was Joseph Lee. He started out as a chef, and he was cooking, and throughout his experiences, he was the one that created the mass production that you see here of breadcrumbs and bread. He first started out, as you can see up here. This is the breadcrumb machine that he created. You can see the ingenuity in it, the engineering in it, the thought process, the mind that he used to create to elevate himself to a higher status. He did that, and then he created the. It says, hold on. It says that in 1885, Joseph patented his breadcrumb machine. Above is the picture using his brand new invention to make breadcrumbs for various dishes like batter for cakes, fried chops, fried fish, and croquettes. Joseph's machine was so efficient, it reduced manpower by 75%. Then it says Joseph soon sold his wonderful invention to the Royal Worcester Crumb Boston Company. Not long afterwards, this lucky company placed the machine in major restaurants around the world. But Joseph wasn't finished. He soon, as you can see here to our right, invented the bread making machine that could mix ingredients and knead dough so quickly and efficiently that it did the work of 6 men, and it did it cheaper and more hygienically than it had ever done before. So this is Brother Joseph. This is Brother Joseph Lee. Moses, what is the economic implications on his inventions?
Man, do you really believe that this man got breaded? They got small factories now, manufacturing places that are producing the buns for like McDonald's. You know, they got the 5 billion or whatever their number is, but it estimates this is a small bread creating factory, 14.4 million buns per week. So you take his one invention, you scale it out inside of a bigger factory, and now you have 14.4 in a small size warehouse that produces it, and it never comes to pass without Joseph Lee. What is the economic impact? Well, you tell me. How many McDonald's, how many Burger Kings, how many of our restaurants that we go to? I know I go to them every week. How many of them? It says breading. So it's similar to the same thing when you're frying your chicken or you're smothered, whatever, those restaurants. How many of them exist? Not just here in America, but on a global scale. None of that comes to pass without this brother taking the ingenuity, his engineering skills, and creating these devices.
Right. Peace to information man in the chat. Peace, big bro. Let's move down the line. This man here, this is, we went into Dr. Hale Williams. This man was amazing. Amazing. I mean, we talked about his many accomplishments in Providence Hospital, where it recognized that in 1891, Williams co-founded Providence Hospital and Training Association in a 3-story building on the south side of Chicago. At a time when only 909 Black physicians served 7.5 million African Americans. Providence was the first Black controlled hospital in the nation. Yet Providence was also the first medical facility to have an interracial staff and the first facility for African American nurses in the U.S. During Williams' tenure as physician from 1891 to 1912, Providence Hospital grew largely to the extreme high success rate patient recovery of 87%. We also know that this brilliant man in 1893, Williams daringly performed open heart surgery on a young black man, James Cornish, who had received several stab wounds in his chest. Despite having a limited array of surgical equipment in medicine, Williams opened Cornish's chest cavity and operated on his heart without the patient dying from infection. Cornish went on to recover 51 days and went on to live for 50 more years. This man was nothing short but amazing. He was nationally recognized. He had co-founded the first Providence Hospital and Training Association in a 3-story building in Chicago, and also had the first black controlled hospital in the nation, and the first training facility for American nurses in the U.S. So y'all better look this amazing man up. This is no joke, man. Our people wasn't no goddamn joke. See, I said I wasn't gonna curse, but I'm getting turned up because black boys, instead of trying to be LeBron James, they need to try to be like this black man, Daniel Hale Williams. Instead of trying to be like Kevin Durant, they need to try to be like this amazing man, a real life changer. This is the real Superman right here. Let's move down the line. Go ahead, Mildred.
So even today you have African-American, what's his name? Bernard Tyson is the CEO, chairman and CEO of Kaiser Permanente hospital space. So we're still looking at the same basic human needs, and how do we provide for the same basic human needs? This brother did it at a time when there was still segregation, when African Americans weren't allowed to go to hospitals, and then there was the Great Migration in the early 20s from the South, and then the 30s from the South due to the flooding and agriculture and all of that, up to Chicago. And where is there a need? Where there is the most people who may have those services, health issues. They've just traveled all the way from the deep South up to the North, and now they got to Chicago, and they have their own hospital where they can finally get treatment, because the rest of society would not allow them to have access to health care. So the African American doesn't complain. He doesn't get on there and talk about all the crime rates in Chicago and how the community has been deteriorated. He creates an opportunity. And even today they have the Providence Hospital Foundation, which still gives scholarships for those who want to go inside the medical fields. And so that's something that we can talk about. That's something that the Black conservatives need to know, to be able to give a more unbiased, objective lens into the African-American experience, not just to say how bad it is in Chicago, but to also say, and there are opportunities out there that are originating from intelligent African-American men and that are still available for African-Americans once we realize that this is where we want to go. We want to go in a direction that says we can help each other. We want to go in a direction that says we have opportunities and access to help each other. Now it's time for us to get that information out there for those who are seeking those next steps. So big up for that, man.
So then we went into Mary and Mildred Davidson, inventors of the sanitary belt and the toilet tissue holder. So when you think back, before this invention, women was wearing cloth and rags during their menstrual period. This woman thought to create the sanitary napkin and then the moisture pocket. And that moisture pocket was very instrumental. Here she go, Mildred and Mary. She looks like anybody. This gave 3 years that Mary invented the moisture resistant pocket for the belt. This gave a better substitute for handling a period, even if it was not as comfortable as modern day sanitary pads. Kenner's sanitary belt with its moisture-proof napkin made it less likely that menstrual blood could leak. Her invention was patented 30 years later after it was introduced, because the company which was initially interested in her invention rejected it when they realized she was African American. And this is why we have to be steadfast and uncompromising. We got to stop forgiving everybody and being everybody's friend. We got to be steadfast and honor and a name all the women that's watching this, that wear sanitary napkins, that's wearing your pads. You can never be compromising. because this woman right here created something that makes your life better. And she was vehemently disrespected by the elite power structure. She was disrespected. Black women, all black women, are forced to have to use sanitary napkins when they're on their period. And this black woman created it for you. And they disrespected her. So just same way the Jews are uncompromising, when they talk about their story, we got to be uncompromising. That's why I don't play nobody disrespecting black women or disrespecting black men, because I know the greatness that we come from. I know the contributions that we brought to the table. So when I hear idiots disrespecting their own self by disrespecting their people, it pisses me off. You got some black women out here talking about the contribution, and they got a goddamn pad on right now. Everybody sit down and take a crap. You sit down and you take a crap every goddamn day. But guess what? They also created this. You look at something like this and we laugh at it, but think of how important this is. Just look at how important this is. This is the mindset, something as simple as this, but it's used in everyday life. You can thank Mildred and Mary. Where you at, Moses?
My bad, it started breaking up a little bit, but yeah, that was one of those cases that stood out to me as well, because it's evidence. You need those evidentiary pieces when they try to say, well, racism doesn't exist anymore. When they try to say, well, equal opportunity is there. African Americans have to stop making excuses. This shows women who did all the right things and were still discriminated against, working as an individual, going up against an institution. You can have the idea, you can network it, take out loans for the manufacturing, and 30 years later, finally have your recognition and still not be able to profit off of it. And now these pads they're a common thing. They're normal. I go to the store and get my wife hers whenever she needs them. And it's something that's just a normal part of our society. What's not normal is them to ever give credit where credit is due.
And it kept us from passing down generational wealth that would have bettered our relationships with each other. And it would have kept our culture intact. And that's why we got to be uncompromising, because we had trailblazers. They got the picture image of white Jesus on their wall. Every black woman should have an image of this. Hey, Moses, every black woman, including my wife, your wife, all the women in the chat room, should have a picture of this woman inside their homes. Because if you wear a pad, guess what? To give you relief on that time, you could be thanking this black woman right here. Grandma Mary May. Let's move on. As we wind down. This is a black woman. She let's go up to her name. This black woman right here, Eglin, she created the clothes wringer back in the 1800s. She created the clothes wringer. So let's go down to her story. Eglin was born in Washington, D.C. in 1849. She was a housekeeper and a government clerk. She's a housekeeper and a government clerk. In the late 1800s, she invented a type of clothes wringer with two rollers cranked to handle. The rollers were made with two wooden pins placed on top of each other. Once the handle turned, the pins rolled. Because a black woman could not get a patent in the 1800s, England sold her patent to a white woman for $18. In 1890, England was quoted as saying to the woman inventor, "You know I am black." And if it was known that a Negro woman patented the invention, white ladies would not buy the ringer. And I want all the black women that want to join these, to say that they are feminists, they want to join these Me Too movements. All the way back then, black women rather walk around with stinky coochies than be a part of a black woman that created a sanitary napkin. They rather walk around with stinking clothes than be a part of a black woman that's showing you how to clean your clothes properly. This is the overt racism that our grandparents had to endure. And these are the things that you guys got to understand. Make sure y'all like and share this video all over. All your Facebook pages. Let's move on. We winding down. This brilliant lady right here. I ain't going to read everything. I'm just going to tell you her story for those that wasn't here. Marian Croak. Marian Croak is responsible. She's with this technology. Dr. Croak helped advance technology, including calling and text messaging on the cellular phones. Dr. Croak also has more patents under review. So she's responsible for your technology with. She's responsible for your technology with your text messaging and your cellular call messaging. She's also was in position to be over 2,000 world-class computer scientists and engineers. She was their boss. She was over applications and services infrastructure. She did so much. You can look this lady up, Marian Croak.
Man, I got to give her a little more justice than that because we don't understand how deep this person is. We remember under Reagan, there was the space race, right? And they wanted to get satellites into outer space. Right now, there was a race for connectivity. So these cell phones, there's over 3 to 5 billion people who are still not on that connectivity grid. Rural countries, India, China, Africa, who are still not connected through these cell phones. And what this lady is doing right now is competing with the likes of Facebook. She's representing Google in this race, but also with the NGOs. You have the solar industry that's involved. Her initiative is to put the balloons out there with the solar panels attached at about 20 kilometers. So that's over where the planes fly, over where the weather phenomenons occur, but up into the stratosphere that will enable a signal and have an interconnected grid of these balloons that create a connectivity even during the times of storms like Hurricane Mary, the one that just hit the Puerto Rico or whatnot, so they can still respond. During Hurricane Katrina, the phones went out. That is an issue. That is an issue all over. When they have these big floods and catastrophic events and natural disasters do happen, people need to be able to communicate. And this is where this lady is stepping up the challenge for the global community. When you need a cell phone signal, we're going to need everybody can't have a sat phone, Brother George. And when we need that connectivity in the time of a storm, these people like Marian, they will never say it. They will never admit it. But look up Project Loon. I'm going to put it in there just so other folks can actually look it up itself and see what it does. But I just had to throw that out there because she's still ongoing. She's still busting their heads right now with what she does. Phenomenal woman. Look her up.
And this is the image of her here. As you can see, Marian Croak, she's actually still alive. She's still with us. And her brilliance is still here. Her energy is still here right now. And that's the image of Marian Croak. So let's move down to Brother Samson. This brother right here. Again, everybody in the chat room that's watching. My brother D. Nubian, R. Lolita, Dr. Ford. Everybody that's watching. Y'all crazy, man. Yeah, well, everybody that's Doug. I want all y'all to look at y'all cell phones. This brother right here, this is Henry Thomas Samson, information man. Check out your cell phones. This brother right here, Samson's prolific inventions hold several U.S. patents. In 1971, he co-invented the gamma electric cell. We call our phones cell phones. He didn't invent the actual cell phone. He invented the gamma electric cell with George M. Miley. The gamma electric cell converts high radiation energy gamma rays into electricity. So he converted gamma rays into electricity to allow the cell phone to work. And did they connect? Well, Moses is coming behind me and explain how they connected it. He explains it better than me. Due to his co-invention, the gamma electric cell, Samson is mistakenly cited as the inventor of the cell phone. Explain that to him, Moses, how that works.
Man, so when we talk over these devices, they already had the microphone or the ability to take phonetic sound waves, but they didn't have any power, any energy source, electricity source that could actually push those waves along, wave files, like the sun sends a wave. It has the power to send that wave in the form of heat, all the way from itself to wherever it goes in the galaxy. So here to Earth, we can feel the rays of the sun in the form of heat. But in our technology, the sound of those things needed an instrument, it needed a vehicle, it needed to be able to move. So electricity, that hotness, that radiation, that gamma radiation is the thing that he was able to convert into electricity, so that your sound, your sonic, your voice can ride on the waves of electricity. Now you don't have to be plugged into the wall, because you needed a power source that could stabilize that energy and make it safe to use and to carry around. Like you said earlier, how many people were trying to create any type of devices using this form of energy and almost killed everybody in the plant? Half cities and things, and Chernobyl, and experiments with nuclear energy, or all those energies, and trying to compress energy into a usable form. That's what this man did. And today we can have our conversations. I could talk to somebody 3,000 miles away with no problem.
Right. Right. So here we go. Let's go here. We have Lewis Temple. Lewis Temple created, and he was one of the ones when I first started 2 hours ago. He created a modern day harpoon that was used. Well, let me just explain it. Let me explain it better. Back in the 1800s, up in Massachusetts, whale hunting was a major part of the economy, and they were having a problem with whale hunting because the whales kept getting away. So lo and behold, some black dude with no experience in whaling at all opened up a store, and he looked at the ancient technology of the way they used to whale hunt, developed the temple toggle, or the temple iron, where he developed a harpoon. He developed a harpoon with a pivoting head that stayed embedded within the creature, that didn't allow the creature to actually escape. So now I need you guys to understand the importance of what this man did in the early 1800s, still during the time of slavery, but he was free because he was living up north, but racism still permeated all through the area. Now, what you guys have to understand is he created something that shook up the industry up in the colonies. And in 1854, this black man had a mysterious fall into a hole that got hurt real bad. He sued, won $2,000 award, but he died from his injuries. He never was able to patent this, and now worldwide, the temple tuggle, or the temple iron, is like the model or the mold for what they were using to actually catch whales. This is $1 billion industry globally. This man created this in the early 1800s. And they said that he accidentally fell in a hole. If you notice, we had a lot of injuries after we created something. From the beginning, just got over share it. You're welcome, Tisha. Thank you, Tisha, for sharing it. Yeah, he mysteriously fell, why? And you guys can go to the beginning. What happened was, because he didn't patent it. Many blacksmiths began to copying the device and selling it as their own. Nonetheless, he enjoyed the success that he needed to build an even larger shop. Unfortunately, in 1854, while the new shop was under construction, he fell into a hole near the shop and was unable to work. The hole was a result of construction by the city, and Temple successfully sued and was awarded $2,000 by the court. He never received any of the payment, for he died a short weeks later as a result of his injuries. So this was a guy that created the harpoon to actually catch whales, a black man. You want some of that, Moses, before I move to the next one?
Real quick on this one: prehistoric intelligence remanufactured. So it was the idea that came from thousands of years I'll leave it at that, man. Keep going, man. And then I also wrote in my notes suspicious circumstances of his demise. So that was the fell in the hole part. But yeah, the point that they brought out earlier was the prehistoric intelligence. They said this was the same type of spear used in prehistoric Africa. And we know that they were the first explorers with boats and such. So big ups to that brother, man. That's a hard man right there. I don't even know how you get that. You just have a dream or something, and you're like, oh, I see what the problem is. And then you think of an invention that was invented thousands of years ago without the access to the books and technology. Did it ever say that he traveled to Egypt and he saw the boat? And
Nope.
no, none of that. So where did that information come from? It's probably still somewhere locked in the recesses or repressed inside of our DNA structure. It's been passed down, and even the subjugation and the humiliation of slavery cannot restrain us from our greatness. That's what's up.
Yeah, and this last one is actually Gladys West, who introduced GPS technology, inducted into the Air Force Hall of Fame. And you know, we played the video. We played the video already of Gladys and what she did, how she broke ground with her achievements in astrophysics. So you know, this here brings us to the end. The history of African American inventors, part 6. For those of you in the chat room that gave
Wait, Brother George, real quick.
Go ahead, brother.
Did you do Eglin?
Yeah, she was the one that created. Yeah, here she go right here. She was the one that created
the clothes wrangler, right?
Yeah. We did her.
All right, good. That's what's up.
You want to speak on her?
No, we're all good. That one was another one of those major cases where you can see all the innovation and the fine artwork, the mathematics to create a device just to have that device put off. But the thing that was most important about this lady was the fact that she inspired the likes of Madam C.J. Walker, who also experienced a similar discrimination. But in her case, it was with gender. Males, she had to use her husband's name, C.J. Walker, in order to sell her products. And this woman had to sell her patent because white ladies would be the only ones who could receive it in the market. So big up.
Yeah, and this concludes our lesson for tonight in African American histories, African American inventors, part 7. For those of you guys that spent the last 2.5 hours of watching this, I would ask you guys if you know of any obscure or forgotten about Black inventors. Put my email in the chat again. Email it to me. I'll do the research and I will present it in the future in the future presentations. Me and Moses will come with it. We already have we got down some information with the what was it, Moses? The International Women's Hall of Fame.
The Women in Technology International Hall of Fame.
Yeah, we got to do our homework on that one and find out the Black women that's in that. And we definitely got to bring that out for the Black women today. They need to see that and see the accomplishments of what our people brought to the table. So these are things that are very important. This information is very important. So Moses, go ahead, close us out, man, with some edifying words.
Phenomenal, powerful presentation on our legacy. We have to remember their names. This is the information that will not be present in the school books. This is the information that may not even be present in your teach at home curriculums, but there are ways to which we can incorporate the science, the technology, the engineering, and the math back into our lives ritualistically if you're a spiritual person. I know when it comes to my children, discipline is one of those things, but the form of discipline isn't the violent discipline. They have to look up people like this. They have to learn their names. They have to look up words. They have to learn the meaning of words in a number of different languages, from its Latin, its Greek, from its German, not just the English. And that as a form of not punishment, but as a form of reward for them. They're being a little bit rebellious. I got some young kids, a 13-year-old and a 10-year-old. So these are the opportunities that I incorporate in my life to help educate and empower them. Find some way in your own life to reintroduce our legacy. Reintroduce our legacy, not just what's going on today in current events, not just the future that we would like to see, but also some of our legacy into their daily lives. You heard of 7 great, amazing contributions to the world that were brought to you by African American intelligence. So let's continue to have these conversations. Thanks for joining us in this build. Brother George, as always, man, you honor me by allowing me a voice on your platform. I look forward to the Nerd Institution, man, to where we can continue to have this stuff readily and available to our brothers and sisters in a visual form, where they can even download PDFs in the future. Until the next time, man, I'm always here, Brother Moses, man, and just glad to be amongst the great presence of great men.
Absolutely. Yeah, we look forward and look out for our Nerds University page that's coming. It's coming soon. Nerds with Swag, and NWS. We got that coming. We're promoting where Band and Nerd is cool. Band and Nerd in 2019 going forward is where it's at. So we're going to have a whole page, Nerds University, dedicated to Black excellence and Black information. So I hope that you guys came, and you left here. As you leave here, you come here, you leave here with something that you didn't have prior to coming. So remember, I love my people more than they hate themselves. And I pray to the universal creator Most High that these words was enough to inspire you. These words are enough to make you look at yourself in the mirror and make change. These words are enough to make you look at your children and know you have to make change. I hope that this information was enough to let you know that you come from something great. You come from something greater than what they told you you were. You know that you have a people that actually cared about you. They didn't drop the ball. You have people that was actually standing in the gap for you to create a better life for you going forward. You come from a people that was fighting diligently, thinking about you 40 and 50 and 60 years before you was even born into this reality. You have people that loved and cared for you. You have people that was fighting to set up provisions and platforms for you to be able to walk on. You have people that was fighting diligently to get certain laws passed and was willing to get hit in the head with bricks and be murdered just so that you can be able to advance. So before you say that your people dropped the ball, you go and do the research of the people that was here before you, and you research their sacrifices that they had before you say that the black man ain't shit, before you say that the black woman ain't shit. You look at the positions that you're in now based off of the positions that they were in and how they had to fight in order for you to even have the little amenities that you have today. So you make sure you remember those things. You make sure you honor your ancestors. And remember, I love all y'all. To the next time. Peace.